The war wasn't lost on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. It was lost 36 years later, in a quiet tent on the shores of Prabhasa. The greatest empire in history didn't fall to a foreign invasion or a demon king. It fell because of a drunken argument and a blade of grass. You know the story of the Mahabharata as a chronicle of righteous warfare, but that is the sanitized version. If you look closer into the dark corners of the Mausala Parva, you find the terrified beating heart of the real story. This isn't just about the death of a clan. It is about the suicide of God. To understand the end, we have to look at the atmosphere of the beginning. Imagine the western coast of India. The air is thick with salt and the smell of Maria wine. The Yadavas, the most powerful warriors on earth, are not preparing for battle. They are partying. They are shouting. But underneath the revelry, there is a frequency of dread. The ocean crashing against the shore sounds like a clock ticking down. For 36 years, this moment had been building. The Yadavas had become the masters of the world. They were invincible. And because they had no enemies left to kill, they turned their aggression inward. They became arrogant. They mocked the sages. They felt untouchable. But true power is never static. It either serves dharma or it begins to rot. And the rot started with a prank. Remember Samba, the son of Krishna? He dressed as a pregnant woman, strapping a disguise to his belly, and asked the wise sages a question. He asked, "Tell us, what will this woman give birth to?" It was a joke. A mockery of spiritual sight. But the sages didn't laugh. They looked at him with cold eyes and said, "She will bring forth a fierce iron bolt for the destruction of your entire race." Terrified, the Yadavas tried to destroy the bolt. They ground it into fine powder and threw it into the sea. They thought they could atomize their karma. They thought they could wash away the consequences. But the powder didn't disappear. It washed back ashore, nurtured by the salt and the sand, and grew into the tall, sharp Eraka grass that lined the beach. A weapon, waiting for a hand to hold it. But the seed of this destruction was planted long before that. It goes back to the Stree Parva, the book of the women. Picture Gandhari, the mother of 100 dead sons. She walks through the battlefield of Kurukshetra. She is blindfolded, but through the power of her grief, she sees everything. She doesn't just see death, she sees the indignity of it. She sees the heroes who once slept on silk beds now being dragged by vultures and jackals. She sees the headless trunks of warriors. She sees the women running between corpses, unable to match the severed heads to the bodies of their husbands. Her grief calcifies into a cold, hard rage. She finds Krishna walking among the dead. To her, he is not just a god, he is the director of this play. He had the power to stop it, and he chose not to. She screams at him. She tells him that if her devotion has any power, he will suffer the same fate. She curses him, "In 36 years, O Krishna, you will see your own kinsmen slaughter each other. You will not die in glory. You will die alone, in the wilderness, like a common beast." Pause here for a second. Look at what Krishna does in that moment. Most men, when cursed, would fight back. But Krishna? He smiles. This is the detail that changes everything. That smile isn't arrogance. It is acceptance. You see, the analyst realizes that this wasn't a defeat for Krishna, it was a strategy. The Yadavas had become too powerful, too decadent. A clan of invincible hedonists is a danger to the world. Krishna needed to clean house before he left the earth. He couldn't kill his own devotees with his own hands, that would be against the code. So he used Gandhari's rage as the permission slip. He accepted the curse because it was the only way to destroy what he loved for the sake of what was right. Fast forward 36 years to that beach at Prabhasa. The omens are everywhere. Rats are eating the hair and nails of sleeping men. The birds are screeching constantly. The sun is eclipsed. The tension is palpable, waiting for a single spark to ignite the massacre. That spark comes when Satyaki and Kritvarma, two veterans of the Great War, start arguing. It's the old wounds of Kurukshetra ripping open again. You killed men in their sleep. You killed men while they were praying. Words turn to shoves. Shoves turn to swords. And then, the horror begins. The warriors, in their drunken fury, run out of weapons. So they reach for the grass. The Eraka grass growing in the sand. The moment they touch it, the organic plant matter transforms. It hardens. It becomes cold, heavy iron. The powder they threw into the sea has returned to their hands. The text describes it as having the energy of a thunderbolt. It is a massacre of absolute intimacy. Son kills father. Father kills son. Friend bludgeons friend. There is no strategy here, only biological fury. And then, the most terrifying image of all, Krishna himself enters the fray. He sees his son Pradyumna dead. He sees the chaos. And he does not stop it. He picks up the grass and he joins the slaughter. He becomes the storm that wipes his own lineage from the face of the earth. When the screaming stops, there is only silence. The ocean waves continue to crash, indifferent to the genocide. Balram, the great holder of the plough, sits down by the sea and gives up his life, his spirit leaving him as a great white serpent. And Krishna? He wanders away, just as the curse predicted. Bereft of friends. Alone. He lies down under a tree in the forest. He enters a state of high yoga. A hunter named Zra, whose name literally means old age or decay, spots Krishna's foot glowing in the underbrush. He thinks it is a deer. He notches an arrow. And the tip of that arrow? It was made from the one shard of iron they couldn't grind to powder. The one piece they couldn't destroy. The arrow flies. It strikes the heel. The god dies. So, here is the verdict. Did Gandhari kill God? Or did God use a mother's grief to commit a divine suicide? The story of the curse tells us that in the end, there is no escaping the law. Karma is a circle. Violence begets violence, even if you are divine. The iron bolt wasn't just a weapon, it was the physical manifestation of their sins, returned by the sea to claim its due. In the end, we are left with the image of that grass, soft, harmless rushes that turned into iron bolts. It reminds us that when a society loses its soul, even the environment turns against it. The tragedy of the Yadavas is not that they died, but that they forgot who they were. They allowed their power to blind them to their purpose. And in that blindness, they created the very instrument of their own destruction. It serves as a grim reminder that even the divine must submit to the flow of time and consequence. Krishna's departure marks the end of an era, the closing of the Dwapara Yuga and the beginning of the Kali Yuga. It is a transition marked not by glory, but by the stark reality of loss. The city of gold, Dwarka, is swallowed by the ocean, erasing the physical evidence of their might. All that remains is the lesson. The lesson that power without dharma is a curse in disguise. That the greatest threats often come not from the outside, but from within. From our own arrogance, our own unresolved traumas, and our own refusal to heed the signs of decay. Gandhari's curse was simply the mechanism that brought this truth to light. She acted as the agent of a cosmic necessity, ensuring that the balance was restored. Her pain was real, her anger was justified, but her curse was ultimately a tool in the hands of a higher order. It is a narrative that challenges us to look beyond the surface of heroes and villains, to see the complex web of cause and effect that binds us all. So when you think of the Mahabharata, don't just remember the Bhagavad Gita or the war at Kurukshetra. Remember the silence at Prabhasa. Remember the iron grass. Remember that even God chose to bow down to the rules of the game he created. It is the ultimate Noya ending to the ultimate epic. What do you think? Was Krishna right to let his family be destroyed? Did Gandhari have the right to curse the divine? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And make sure to subscribe to uncover the epics India forgot.